All right, we're back. We are back. All 12 of you watching now. You know, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting, folks? Isn't that interesting? You know, yesterday, live from my parents' house, not a problem. Not a problem. No connection problems. Then, then I publicly on Twitter call out YouTube, call out YouTube for seemingly disabling my this channel. They disabled the button for viewers to get notifications, for subscribers to get notifications. So I publicly called out YouTube, and then as soon as I go live, all of a sudden, my stream is buffering like out of control to the point where it just shuts down completely. Isn't that interesting? What do you think, Sam? Is that interesting? I think that's pretty interesting. So, before I was rudely interrupted, probably by YouTube, I was showing off my new Status Quo water bottle, which is part of the swag that we're giving out as part of the GoFundMe. Which, by the way, I sent out 5 more swag bag packages today to wonderful GoFundMe donors. So we started mailing out your GoFundMe shirts, hats, water bottles. Some of you got backpacks, and we're going to continue sending that out. And I'm going to be announcing today, we have 2 contests. We have 2 contests for the audience to try and boost both our GoFundMe as well as our paid membership. So I'll be telling you about the contests in a little bit. If you didn't come yesterday, Happy New Year. I had a bounce back 2018 year, but more importantly, Status Quo is going to have a unbelievably huge 2019 with your help. So, you know the drill. You know the drill. You have a checklist. Press that like button. Smash that like button. The more people that like this live stream, the more people see the live stream. And if you saw yesterday, we got up to 320, I think, 320 live viewers, and we have more trolls, which is always exciting. Sam, I'm giving you full permission today if the audience gets up there and more trolls come on. I don't mind trolls, but if there's trolls, like, just repeatedly saying the same exact thing, get rid of them. I don't have patience for that. So if there's trolls saying how much is Russia paying me and all this bullshit, get rid of them. So, smash the like button. The algorithm works. If you smash the like button, more people see the live stream. I'm going to skip over membership because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Follow us at Status Quo on the Twitter. We are on Twitter. We are tweeting, so follow us at Status Quo. Subscribe to our podcast. Right there is the link. And when you subscribe, rate us 5 stars. And even, I don't like Facebook. I don't even know if we're going to use it long term. But for now, go to facebook.com/Status Quo and press that like button. But most importantly, like this live stream. Even if you dislike me, you liking makes more people see it. Yes, Zachary, if there's anti-Semite trolls, gone with you. Gone like the wind. We don't want you here. So I'm going to talk about the GoFundMe and membership a little bit later. Because we have 2 contests that we're going to be launching today. Just to give you a little update, if you're interested, we are at, yesterday, through the audience voting, because I asked you what you thought, we raised the GoFundMe goal. So now we're at 35,516. We've raised it to 70,000. We raised that yesterday so we would have more funds for a Bernie Sanders campaign, to cover that Bernie Sanders campaign. If you haven't been following, the coordinated corporate media propaganda and campaign to basically dismantle Bernie Sanders before he even announces his second run for president, I've never seen anything like it. It's literally every day there's another piece of propaganda. So we would like to be on the campaign trail because, frankly, there's not a lot of independent outlets out there that are going to be on the campaign trail. Me out there. Democracy Now! Wasn't really out there that much. The Intercept wasn't really out there that much. So I don't expect, independent, when I say independent, I mean actually independent, not outlets that say they're independent but are not independent. Hint, hint. So we need the funding to get out there, because if there isn't independent media out there to counter the propaganda that the corporate media is going to be putting out to try and basically defeat Bernie Sanders before he's even out there, then we're going to have problems. We're going to have problems. Hold on. Hello, 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 hello. Can...
Hello?
Hey, viewers say they can't hear me. I'm live.
Huh?
Oh, now they can hear me. All right, goodbye. I mean, Jesus Christ. Is it just me, or is something going on with YouTube? Is it just me, or is something going on with YouTube? As soon as I go live, the stream goes down. Then my sound cuts out, even though my microphone, you see that blue light? You see that blue light there? It's on. Jesse, it could be the CIA. I mean, at this point, who knows? Maybe it's Russia. Maybe it's Russia. All right, so I'm going to get to the point here. Because who the hell knows how long this stream is gonna have. Reminder, this is a super chat, so if you're feeling super, let us know. We're going to be launching 2 new contests today, but we will talk about that in a little bit. So the Democrats are going to retake the House officially, I believe tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow. Tomorrow or Friday, I'm not sure. And Nancy Pelosi is already deciding to govern more Republican than the actual Republican Party. Are you shocked? Are you shocked? So let's take a look here. Nancy Pelosi, who looks like is going to be the next Speaker of the House, is, instead of coming with a bold progressive agenda, go figure, is ramming through austerity. Despite pressure from progressive Democrats, the House rules package for the 116 Congress will include a pay-as-you-go provision, requiring all new spending to be offset with either budget cuts or tax increases. A conservative policy aimed at tying the hands of the government. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who will be sworn in this week to represent a district in New York, will vote against the package. Her spokesperson told The Intercept. Congressman Ro Khanna announced Wednesday he will oppose it. Presumptive House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will be sworn in on Thursday, has promised for months to restore the pay-go rule, which she instituted when first taking over the Speaker's gavel in 2007. She ran into resistance from progressives who believed that the rule would make it more difficult for Democrats to pass a host of liberal agenda items. From Medicare for All to a Green New Deal to tuition-free public college. Critics also argue that PAYGO creates an unlevel playing field where Republicans get to blow giant holes in the tax code as they did with the 2017 tax cuts, while Democrats must pay fealty to the deficit. Quote, there's enormous appetite in the Democratic Party and among all Americans for major public investment to tackle our nation's major crises, deepening income inequality and structural racism and climate disaster, said Waleed Shahid, a communications director for Justice Democrats, in a statement to The Intercept. Pelosi and the Democratic Party leadership's support of PAYGO makes actually solving these crises all but impossible. The Democratic Party leadership is unilaterally disarming and shooting themselves in the foot. And he had a fantastic, tweet. Dems and PAYGO, I guess, running them. He's illustrating their hitting themselves or hurting themselves or, running over themselves by foot. The PAYGO rule House Democrats will institute is actually an improvement on what House Republicans put into place in 2011. They created a rule called Cut-Go, which required any new spending to only be offset with budget cuts instead of tax increases. So I'm not going to read the rest of this. You get the point. For those of you just coming in, for whatever reason, YouTube is buffering again, so I'm sorry if you can't read the article. Smash the like button. Remember, the more people that like the live stream, the more people that will see the live stream. So I apologize for the blurry screen. I don't know why that's happening. It was fine yesterday. The only difference between yesterday and today, folks, is yesterday, after when I had a very nice, clear live stream, no buffering, right after that, I happened to go on Twitter and call out YouTube because they disabled the button. They disabled the button that sends notifications to viewers and makes sure that my videos and Status Quo's videos are in viewers and subscribers' subscription feed. So after I tweeted at YouTube and a lot of you retweeted me, all of a sudden the stream is buffering, my audio is going out. Very interesting. Now, slam that like button. Smash the like button. Remember, more people like, more viewers. That's what we want, more viewers. So, the bottom line is this, and let me show you Bernie Sanders' response to this. Bernie Sanders' response: at a time when the climate change threatens our planet, when our infrastructure is crumbling, when 30 million people have no health insurance, I'm concerned that the concept of PAYGO will make it harder for Congress to address the many crises facing our working families. Unfortunately, I have to take on Bernie Sanders' response because this response is not strong enough. Not even close. Sorry to say, Senator Sanders. It's a diplomatic response, but to say I'm concerned that the concept of PAYGO will make it harder, no, this is the time to start fighting. Because obviously, Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic corporate establishment ain't listening, Bernie. Obviously, they don't care about your movement and the progressive movement. They're not paying attention to the likes of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and progressive insurgents primarying candidates. If they were, they would not be implementing Republican. This isn't even Republican austerity. This is worse than Republican austerity because the Republicans, they talk about debt and deficit and then blow it up. The Republicans actually do blow up the debt. This is actually the Democrats, what they do for, it's not about trying to be fiscally conservative. It's actually about trying to make sure we don't get progressive policies like Medicare for all, like free public college, like a Green New Deal. And I'll tell you why. Because the PAYGO rule, essentially, if you have to, thank you, Fadi, $7.99 in the super chat. Support the status quo, people. Counter the YouTube BS. Fadi, we are going to launch 2 contests, which I'm going to announce in a little bit, where you guys can support us even more and get cool stuff from it. So thank you, Fadi, getting us started in the super chat, $7.99. Now, PAYGO is essentially a way to pretend that the Democratic Party is being fiscally conservative while basically eliminating chances of Medicare for all, of free public college, of a Green New Deal, of government jobs programs, because it says, basically, if you're going to do things like that, you need to find equal to larger cuts or tax increases, which is terrible economics, which, frankly, for you MMTers out there, I've reached out to Stephanie Kelton like 6 times already via email. I've also called Stony Brook University, where she's a professor. I'm trying to get an interview with Miss Kelton on MMT, because the principles of MMT are fiercely against pay-go. You do not have to find cuts for every investment you make. You do not have to raise taxes for every investment you make, because first of all, the problem, which MMT would teach you, the problem is not necessarily rising deficits and debt. The problem is if printing money and the government spending money causes inflation. So MMT economics, which I am reaching out to more people than Stephanie Kelton, since unfortunately I haven't been able to book her yet. The bottom line is, it is a misnomer that the government can't afford these things. And if the government would do Medicare for all, if the government would invest in, I shouldn't say the government, if Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party would do Medicare for all, if Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party would do free public college, if Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party would do a Green New Deal, guess what? You would have more revenue coming into the United States government. You would also have less costs overall for the United States government, because everybody would be covered by healthcare, so overall healthcare costs would go down because less people would be chronically sick. More people would get preventative care, which would prevent long occurring illnesses like cancers that cost a lot of money. If you had something like free public college, you would get more students educated. There would be less of a student loan freaking iceberg or thundercloud over not just students, but older Americans still buried in student loan debt. So guess what? They could actually spend some of their paycheck on dinners and on buying things into the economy and spending money in the economy. Yes, Orange Blitz, YouTube gets 30% of Super Chats. It's terrible. That's why, although I'm not going to deter people from leaving Super Chats, we are, oh, that's the wrong thing. We are preferably asking people to donate in the GoFundMe, and we're about to announce two contests for both GoFundMe and for membership, which I'm going to announce in a bit. So, here's the bottom line. The Democratic Party and Nancy Pelosi, what they're doing is not actually trying to be fiscally responsible. What they're doing is actually trying to make sure their donors don't have a panic, and their donors don't get angry at them, and their donors don't actually basically start pulling the money. Thank you, Zach Smith. $2 in the Super Chat. Is the national debt an actual problem? Keep it up. I don't think it's a massive problem like the radical conservatives are saying. I mean, we have a massive national debt. We're still kicking. The problem is not the debt. The problem is the lack of jobs. The problem is the tax cuts for the wealthy people. The problem is the 25,000 wars we're involved in, which I'm going to get to, by the way. AE Bets, don't worry about Patreon. Everybody asking how to support us? I'm about to get to how to support us. I wanted to do it in the middle of the show instead of the beginning of the show. So stick with me. I'm going to tell you how you can support us. So here's the deal. Nancy Pelosi wants to put in PAYGO to put up this little smoke screen that the Democratic Party is the party of fiscal responsibility. No. Why she's doing it is because she knows, and Chuck Schumer knows, and Steny Hoyer knows, and Dick Durbin knows, and Joe Biden knows, and all the corporate Democratic establishment pretending to be progressives. I'm talking to you, Joe Biden. I'm talking to you, Beto O'Rourke. I'm talking to you, Kamala Harris. I'm talking to you, Cory Booker. I'm talking to you, Kirsten Gillibrand. I could go on and on and on. And press the share button, press the like button. We got 250 people watching. I want this at 300 viewers immediately, if we can. So there's 250 people watching and only 96 likes. So 96 likes. So either you don't like me or you're sleeping while watching this. I need you all to like this live stream. I'm asking very nicely, because the more people that smash that like button, the more people who see this live stream. We got to be creative in this age of YouTube suppression because YouTube is not notifying our almost 25,000 subscribers. They're not sending notifications regularly to subscribers, so half the people are going to get a notification for this live stream by 2020. So we need you all to make it a habit, smash the like button. I want you to smash that like button like it's Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama telling you change happens in increments. Change happens in increments. Thank you. Thank you. And now that the likes are going up, watch that viewership go up. So really what Nancy Pelosi is doing is trying to appear like they're, fiscally responsible while in reality saying to their donors, yeah, this stops those little, progressive hippies talking about Medicare for all and free college and, a Green New Deal and all these things, because if we say pay go, well, how are we going to afford those things? Why is it, though, that the Democratic Party, it doesn't seem to me that they use pay-go when it comes to endless war in Syria, endless war in Afghanistan, the United States arming Saudi Arabia, refueling Saudi Arabians' jets? How come we don't issue pay-go for the endless war? Might it be that the Democratic Party is also bought off by Raytheon? Is also bought off by Boeing? Is also bought off by Lockheed Martin? Is also bought off by Northrop Grumman? Could it be? There's never pay-go for the military-industrial complex. Only if you're trying to save people's lives, healthcare, educate people, free public college, or save the planet. That we need to pay for. The endless wars, hey, that's just the war economy, baby. That's just the war economy. And we all know this is the United Corporations of America. By the way, Jen is going to be out this week and maybe next week too, but I spoke with her today about us printing United Corporations of America shirts. I want to start brocking the United Corporations of America shirts and maybe get a trademark too. So, thank you, anonymous commenter, $5 in the super chat. Thoughts on the so-called takeover of the Dems by progressives leftists? Lost cause. I don't think it's a lost cause, but I don't think the progressive takeover is going to happen if we play nice. And so far, I want to give Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez the benefit of the doubt. I think at this point, I can't give Bernie Sanders the benefit of the doubt. He needs to fight. No more being diplomatic with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and these people. Thank you, Obi Alfred, $9.99 in the super chat. Everyone follow Yellow Vest America at America_Vest on Twitter. We're bringing the vest to Pelosi. As long as it's peaceful, we don't want violence here at Status Quo. But as long as it's peaceful, hell yeah. Patrick Scarpati, thank you for the $27 GoFundMe. I'm going between super chat and GoFundMe. Thank you, Patrick, for the $27 GoFundMe. And by the way, Patrick, you're on my list. I got to get your swag out ASAP. So, responses like this, I'm sorry, but I will take on Bernie Sanders if I have to. Responses like this is not going to get it done. It's just not. At a time when climate change threatens our planet, when our infrastructure is crumbling, when 30 million people have no health insurance, I'm concerned that the concept of pay-go will make it harder for Congress to address the many crises facing our working families. That is a very nice tweet, Bernie. That's a very diplomatic tweet, but that is not going to get it done. Right now, you have an exploding progressive movement behind you. Between Ro Khanna, between Tulsi Gabbard, between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, between Rashida Tlaib, between lower-level progressives that were elected, lower name progressives that were elected. Ro Khanna, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, obviously Bernie Sanders, Jeff Merkley. Now is the time when the Democratic Party, before they even officially become the majority party, they haven't even been sworn in yet, and they're putting out these very, 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 these are worse than the Republican Party, because the Republican Party just gives lip service to cut anytime you do a tax cut or go to war, or anytime you have an expensive program, you have to find cuts. The Republican Party just does lip service to that. They never actually do find cuts. They never actually do care about the deficit, because they're all about making sure more and more rich people could buy more and more yachts. They don't care about the debt. That's why Paul Ryan was the biggest fraud in Washington, D.C. for decades. He didn't care about debt. He never liked a tax cut. He never, there was no tax cut he didn't love. There was no deficit, debt, exploding tax cut, or war, or entitlement, or, Medicare Advantage under Bush that Paul Ryan didn't love. They're all frauds. But the Democratic Party is actually following through with austerity when half of the country is near or at the poverty level, where majority of the country does not have $400 for an emergency. When 30 million people are uninsured, and by the way, the underinsurance problem is just as bad. You think Obamacare is able to be actually used by the majority of people on Obamacare? No, the deductibles are too high. The copays are too high. The coinsurance is too high. So the Democratic Party's response to a populist explosion in America, because I do think there's going to be a yellow vest movement in America pretty soon. I think it's going to be Occupy with some leadership this time. No offense to Occupy, but they did not have a leadership structure. But the Democratic Party's plan in the face of austerity is, we have to find cuts. We have to find programs to cut or taxes to raise if we're going to invest in saving the planet or invest in insuring everybody. This is all a smokescreen to say, whispered to the donors, hey, don't worry about those like Ocasio-Cortez's and Bernie's, We're just going to throw out this pay-go thing, but don't worry about it. Your money's good with us. That's what it is. That's really what it is. Thank you, anonymous commenter, $5. Elizabeth Warren only running to split the progressive vote. Where were you yesterday? I did a whole hour on Elizabeth Warren. I don't think she's actually running with that in mind, but I do think Elizabeth Warren. I'm not worried about Beto O'Rourke, to tell you the truth. I don't really know many progressives that are going to vote for Beto O'Rourke. I am a little concerned about Elizabeth Warren pulling votes from Bernie Sanders. I don't think it will be enough to hurt Bernie Sanders. Here's the two things I'm worried about when it comes to a Bernie Sanders campaign, besides not having the funding to cover it, which we're about to get to. I'm worried about the corporate media because I've been in media for about 12 years now. I have never seen this level of coordinated between the Washington Post, the New York Times, Politico, the New York Magazine, CNN, MSNBC, all of them. I have never seen this level of a coordinated propaganda machine against one politician. Obviously, there's been Fox News for years against Obama and Hillary Clinton and a lot of Democrats, but that's just one network. This is multiple legacy newspapers, multiple networks, all coming together to basically try and just carpet bomb Bernie Sanders. So that concerns me more than Elizabeth Warren. I am concerned about Elizabeth Warren only in that I don't think she would be able to pull the majority of Bernie supporters, but I do think she could pull enough Bernie supporters that it does splinter the progressive vote, because I do think some Bernie supporters, wrongly, in my opinion, are going to vote for Warren because they think Bernie's too old. That's why I don't have any reporting to back this up. I wasn't told this. It's just my thought. I think Bernie Sanders would be very, very smart to run again and right at the start say, I'm pledging one term. Because to me, that would really, really eliminate the age argument. I don't think Bernie is too old. I think that's a ridiculous concept. Bernie is going around. Oh, did you see my status coup pen, by the way? A lot of you are getting this in your GoFundMe swag, as well as a status coup water bottle. So keep those GoFundMe donations coming. But I don't think Bernie's too old. The guy is barnstorming the country since 2016. He's been traveling pretty much more than any politician in America. Maybe, obviously, President Trump has been traveling more because he's president. But other than that, Bernie Sanders has been traveling more than any politician I know. Looks like he's got the energy to me. Looks like he's got the marbles, the cognitive abilities still there. So I think the age argument is frankly a distraction. I think it's ageist. Jimmy Carter is alive and he travels. What is Jimmy Carter, 91, 92? George H.W. Bush was just 95 before he died. Good riddance, by the way. Carrie, $25. Thank you. We would vote Bernie if he decides to run. Don't care how old he is. Agreed, Jordan. Thank you, Carrie. And thank you for the continued donations and support. You are on my list, by the way, to get your swag out. Jen is out for this week and probably next week, too. So I am going to be doing a lot of the mailing out. And I apologize. I apologize for those of you getting packages with your shirts, hats, and status quo swag. I failed arts and crafts, so if the package looks like a 2-year-old put it together, that was me. I apologize. So, trying my best. So, here's what I think. Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ro Khanna, Tulsi Gabbard, Raul Grijalva, other progressives, they need to galvanize their base and the progressive base to storm Congress now. What are you waiting for? Nancy Pelosi is not going to change her ways unless you light a collective inferno up her behind. Sorry for that graphic. I mean, Bernie, I'm a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but these kind of tweets aren't going to get it done. It's just not. We can't be diplomatic with these people. They are sociopaths. They are Republicans masquerading in progressive cloth. Bernie's concerned that the concept of PAYGO will make it harder. No, Bernie, you got to get in front of a friggin' microphone with those other progressives, and you got to call out your base to peacefully get on the steps of Capitol Hill against PAYGO, against austerity, and demanding that Nancy Pelosi, that Chuck Schumer do not deflect the entire political discussion onto Donald Trump, because that's their plan. They don't want to talk about money in politics, folks. They do not want to talk about income inequality. They don't want to talk about poverty. They don't want to talk about endless war. They want to talk about Trump. They want to talk about Russia. They want to talk about porn stars. They want to talk about Playboy models. And I think if you want to defeat Donald Trump, the way to defeat Donald Trump is not focusing on 25 investigations about Donald Trump. It's only going to rally his base more. The way to defeat Donald Trump is to offer a stark, sharp contrast. Sorry if I'm being too loud, Orange Blitz. And by the way, I'm yelling more because I'm at my parents' house. Usually I'm live in my apartment, and I try not to scream because I don't want them to kick me out of my apartment complex. I got a crazy neighbor next door who doesn't like me too much because I'm always screaming. And she asked me, "What's going on? What's going on in your apartment on Sundays? It sounds like a thunderstorm in your apartment," this woman says. I'll tell you what's going on. The Sunday Marathon is going on. Noon Easterns every Sunday. Be there or be square. Thank you, Kelly Elaine, for the $10 in the Super Chat. And remember, folks, we love you in the Super Chat, but if you don't mind, we're also looking for GoFundMe contributions. So if you have a choice, we prefer GoFundMe to Super Chat. But if it's easier for you, feel free in the Super Chat. So, and by the way, this Sunday, we're going to have, I already interviewed him, we have Matt Taibbi of Rolling Stone. We had a great interview. Let me tell you something. Goldman Sachs is on the ropes. Goldman Sachs is in big shit. And Goldman Sachs might have, for once in our lifetimes, might have some criminal liability with their latest scam. I hope I'm not jinxing it. I hope he comes through. But tentatively, Lee Camp and I are going to do an interview Friday that I would air on Sunday. So, that's the plan. We definitely have Matt Taibbi, and we might have Lee Camp also. So we're trying to line up the best of the best progressives. We had Richard Wolff, a great economist, on. I'm trying to get an MMT economist. If Stephanie Kelton's not going to respond to me, I'm going to start looking elsewhere. I have gotten several emails from one gentleman on MMT, so I might have him on, but we definitely want to cover MMT and give you MMT economists to present to you what MMT is, and I also straight up need to learn more about MMT. So I think, and let me before I switch topics, let me show you what Ro Khanna's response to the PAYGO was. This is not accurate, and no serious progressive economist agrees with you. We could pass policies in the House without an offset and then negotiate in conference for the appropriate tax increases on the 1%. We shouldn't be negotiating against ourselves. You tell them, Ro. By the way, I followed up with Ro Khanna's press secretary today, because we were talking about doing an interview before at the end of last year, and they told me to reach back out in the new year. So we're trying to get Ro Khanna too. We're trying to get everyone. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on PAYGO. Tomorrow, I will also vote no on the rules package, which is trying to slip in PAYGO. PAYGO isn't only bad economics, as Ro Khanna explains, it's also a dark political maneuver designed to hamstring progress on health care and other legislation. We shouldn't hinder ourselves from the start. So I think there's two important things that Ro Khanna said and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So getting back to Ro, we shouldn't be negotiating against ourselves. Well, can we just look back? I'm sorry to do this. Barack Obama, as president, was one essentially negotiating against himself. He basically started on, if you look at it like in a football game, he basically started on the Republican Party's 5-yard line. He gave the Republicans everything they wanted right out of the gate. I mean, instead, he had a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and he basically had one of the largest mandates a president has had probably in half a century. I mean, the Americans would have voted for an ice cream man over a Republican after what George W. Bush did to this country. And Barack Obama came out of the gate not with Medicare for all, not with a public option, with a plan out of the Republican Heritage Foundation, Romney Care, as they called it, a Republican health care plan. Excuse me, ladies, a blowjob to the insurance companies. I mean, that was Obama. And now the Democrats are doing the same thing. They are coming. Chuck Schumer has never met a crappy deal to give the Republicans 60% of what they want. And why do they do this? Is it because the Democratic Party's stupid, or is it because the Democratic Party isn't making the decisions? The donors for the Democratic Party are making the decisions. The donors tell the Democrats what to offer and when to offer it. It's not Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer calling the shots. It's Wall Street. It's big oil. It's big pharma. It's Silicon Valley. It's real estate developers. They're not calling the shots. These industries are calling the shots. That's why the Democratic Party does things like PAYGO. That's like the Democratic Party is giving the Republicans exactly what they want. Carib Moth. Obama would be a conservative in my country. Yep. Angie Grace. You never hear Warren talk about Medicare for all. In fairness to Warren, she was a co-sponsor of Bernie Sanders' bill, but I don't hear Warren talking about Medicare for all as much as Bernie Sanders. So that's a good point. And by the way, if you missed my live stream yesterday, I did a whole hour on Elizabeth Warren. I do not think she should be the Democratic nominee. I know a lot of you are not going to like this, but I did say if by chance she was the Democratic nominee, I would vote for her over Trump. I don't think any objective individual can say Elizabeth Warren is a lesser of two evils from Donald Trump. Elizabeth Warren, for all her faults, and again, I'm for Bernie, I'm not for Elizabeth Warren. But I will be honest with you, I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear. If it came down to Elizabeth Warren versus Donald Trump, there's no reasonable person that could say Elizabeth Warren is equally as bad as Hillary Clinton. That's just not true. So I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear, but I'm not going to also talk about Elizabeth Warren versus Donald Trump because I don't think she's going to be the nominee. I don't even think she should have ran. I think she should see her chance was in 2016. She didn't take it. She's lost a hell of a lot of progressives by not endorsing Bernie Sanders in 2016, by not showing up for No DAPL, Standing Rock Movement, by voting for an obscene and disastrous and immoral $715 billion military budget. You cannot, if I said this yesterday, you can't, if you're Elizabeth Warren, be sitting here talking about the disappearing middle class and saving the middle class and taking it to Wall Street and taking it to the corporate elite and then vote for a $715 billion blank check for the military. Can't do it. Not for Elizabeth. So, Moving on, we have 400 people watching now. By the way, we have 195 likes, and that has gotten us up to 405 live viewers. So as you see, we are getting more live viewers on this channel because this channel is growing. But 200 of you have not liked this live stream. So the more people that like this live stream, the more people that will see this live stream. I know YouTube doesn't want more viewers to see it, but we're going to do it anyway. So smash that like button. So before I get to my next topic, I want to announce two, count them, two contests that we're about to launch at Status Coup. So I'm going to keep it real for you folks. I'm going to keep it super real as I always do. Hey Rob, $1.99 in the super chat. That's funny because I just invited Steve on Facebook for an interview on MMT yesterday. I told Steve, message me, I'll interview Steve. So your wish is my command, Rob. And Rob, is your name, hold on, Rob, is your name... If your name is Robert McMurtry, you were one of the 5 who I sent out your swag today. So if you're the guy, I sent out your swag today. It should be arriving by Saturday. So here's the real deal. We are doing multiple things at once here. So obviously, we are pushing hard to raise money in GoFundMe. We got to raise money. If we want to have the money to not only cover the Bernie Sanders campaign, but cover other stories that are super, super important that, trust me, no one else is covering. I'm not just talking about Flint. I'm talking about other water contamination around the country. I'm talking about other police brutality cases. I'm talking about a lot of state and local level corruption. I'm talking about other pipelines that are being barreled under the ground that you have no idea about, probably seizing your neighbors or possibly coming down the pike, seizing your land via eminent domain. So there is so much to cover, and frankly, we are not taking shortcuts. We are not taking shortcuts at Status Coup. So we're not accepting large funding from corporations. We're not accepting funding from special interests in Wall Street or the fossil fuel industry or defense industry or anybody. And by the way, I ain't going to get into details, but we already had one offer from a pretty awful corporation, and I told them to go fuck themselves. So here's the deal. We gotta do two things at once. I am quite aware that there are other organizations out there that are trying to build paid membership. I say if you want to, you could be a paid member anywhere you want. That's fine. I am humbly asking you to consider becoming a paid member of Status Coup. I will tell you why. So, bottom line, we're going to get to the 70,000 in GoFundMe. No, Kyle hasn't got back to me, Matty Perry. I love Kyle. I don't know why he hasn't got back to me. I'd love to interview him. So, basically, long-term as a business model, the business model we want is to grow our paid membership. So that's a monthly subscriber. Obviously, you'll get the YouTube channel and my daily live streams and my Sunday marathons free, but you're also going to get a hell of a lot bonus content from me, Jen, Ty, Colin, and eventually other people that we hire. So also what boosting the membership does, it makes sense. The higher numbers of members we get and the higher revenue that comes from that, the easier it's going to be for us to go to potential funders who align with our vision, who are aligned with our vision, not corporate hacks, not plutocrats giving money to Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama or Republicans, but there are individuals and there are corporations out there that we want to target for larger funding, but we need to boost our numbers. So here's the deal. We launched our paid membership. You could go to statuscoup.com /join, statuscoup.com/join, and you could see right there, once you become a member, there's two options right now, $5 and $10 a month. You could become a member. You get behind-the-scenes documentary content. Ty's working on our Flint documentary. You get behind-the-scenes content from our editors showing you behind the scenes, putting together our animations. You got behind-the-scenes from me talking about my technical difficulties. You got behind-the-scenes from Colin and his lovely, lovely cat. I don't know what he did in that video. You got all these behind-the-scenes videos. There's Jen talking about the obstacles we've faced getting the Flint story out. And needless to say, for members, we tell a lot more than we tell on the YouTube. We tell a lot more behind the scenes, probably stuff that will get me in trouble eventually. We're TMI behind the scenes, and we name names. We name names. So we need to boost our membership, both to get larger funding and to drive in more revenue. Because at the end of the day, I'm not taking any money from the company. I've taken the least amount of anyone. So here is my pitch to you. In addition to what you're going to get, the bonus content, behind the scenes, we're going to do a monthly video chat starting this month, where it's not just a live chat, it's a video chat. So for those of you who've done it with me before, we do an hour, sometimes 2 hours. We go behind the scenes. You ask me questions. You're on video. We record it so you could watch it later. So we need members. So I asked myself, how could I entice you to consider signing up? Now, to be clear, patrons, you don't have to do anything. We're not telling you to switch from Patreon to membership yet. That might come down. Might come down in the future, but not right now. So patrons, you could stay a patron. For those that aren't patrons, I want to encourage you to consider becoming a member. So I thought, what would be a good idea to spark more member signups? Because I know for a lot of you, $5 a month might be out of your budget, and $10 a month might be out of your budget. But for a lot of you, it's not out of your budget. You just need to know more and, maybe factor it into your budget. So what we want to do, starting this month, we're going to do a little contest. So right now we have 62 members. And that is, we just launched membership only a few weeks ago. So we have 62 paid members to go along with 300 something patrons. We want to get to 165 members. I just put that number out there because that would be roughly 100 new member signups by the end of January. So there's the link, statuscoup.com/join. Thank you, Colin, for making that badass graphic. And I said, you know what? Our slogan here at Status Coup is giving the microphone back to the people. So why don't I just do it as part of this contest? So what we're going to do, every time, if you sign up as a member, I want you to email Jordan at protonmail.com. Email Jordan at protonmail.com. So that is my email. So it's coming to me. If you sign up as a member, and by the way, existing members, you're grandfathered into this too. So you can email Jordan at protonmail.com too. So it's for existing members and future members that sign up. So I want you to email me, and I want you to tell me a story going on where you live, or a story going on, maybe not where you live, but that you would like to see covered in the field. At the end of the month, if we hit that number, 165, Ty and I are going to go out in the field and we are going to cover the story. We are going to cover in the field a story from one of you that we select. I don't want to do a raffle because there's apparently some legal things with that. So Ty and I and Jen are going to select what we think is the best story, and it could be anything. It could be if you send us a story about corruption at your local PTA. Hey, if it's compelling, we're going out there. We're going out there. We want you to decide which story we cover in the field. But we're not only going to stop there. So that is the top member suggestion that we decide is we're going to go out in the field based on what you tell us needs to be covered. Now, to be clear, don't tell us you want us to go to Mars and cover corruption on Mars. Keep it reasonable. Keep it like corruption on Mars or something crazy. But we want to show you that we are giving you the microphone. So we are going to spend money, probably $2,000 to $3,000, Ty and I. That's what an average trip costs. And we're going to go where one of you tell us to go, if you're a member. For the remaining 9, so we're doing a top 10. So the top is going to get to dictate, you pick where we go in the field. For the remaining 9, I am going to cover, Ty is going to cover, Jen is going to cover, all three of us, we're going to cover 9 other stories that you dictate that we cover. Could be something domestically, could be something for foreign policy, could be... Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Is it buffering again for you guys? All right. Oh, God. Are they kidding? Can you hear me? 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 Okay. So the number one pick, who we decide, Ty and I are going in the field based on what you tell us to cover. And if it's something in your community, hey, you could come on with us as long as you're not a crazy person who's going to kill us. If we pick your story in your local community, you could come on with us, and you could even we'll go out to dinner, whatever. Jen's not here, so I could do whatever I want. So the remaining 9, we're going to cover the stories you pick, not in the field, but on statusquo.com, on Status Quo's YouTube for an hour. We'll probably do it on the Sunday Marathon, and we'll probably want to interview you for the story that you cover. So that's what we're doing. That is the membership contest. We're calling it You Pick. You Pick. So right now we're at 62 members. We want to get up to 165. And if we get up to that 165 number by the end of this month, so we got, I think, 30 days to do it. If we get up to that number, we are going to go in the field based on what the number one story idea is that we select. We're going to go in, and we're probably, if it's in your community, we're going to bring you on and probably want to spend some time with you because you know the story better than us. The remaining nine, we'll pick a story that myself, Ty, or Jen will do here on the channel for an hour, and we will interview you also. So basically, I thought, listen, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. Yes, I did just lose 200 viewers. Thank you. Honestly, Michael, it's so obvious. YouTube there's a switch, and YouTube's playing games here. Because there's no reason that my stream should be buffering like it is. There's no reason my audio is going out for no reason at all. I was here at my parents' house yesterday doing this. And there was no problem. Then I tweeted at YouTube telling them, why is my button disabled? When the button for subscribers to see my videos in their feeds and the button for subscribers to get notifications, why is it disabled? And all of a sudden today, my stream is getting shut down. My audio keeps going in and out. The microphone is on. You see that blue? That means the microphone is on. So anyway, but the point is this, and we did just lose 100 viewers, so thank you, YouTube. Holy crap, this is scandalous. Welcome to YouTube, or shall I say FuTube. And long term, we don't want to be on YouTube long term. We're going to be going at our site, but you got to crawl before you can walk. So that is the contest. We hope you'll consider becoming a member. I'm not making any patrons switch to membership if you don't want to, but this is only for members. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, if you want to switch, you can. If you want to do both, even better. If you're a Patreon subscriber above $10, we ask you to stay a Patreon subscriber until we create a membership level above $10. Right now, our membership levels are $5 and $10. When Jen comes back, we'll be making a higher one too. So we hope this basically letting you decide an in-the-field reporting trip, as well as letting you decide 9 other stories that we're going to cover at length and interview you for them, encourages you to become a member. If I'm keeping it real, folks, because I like to keep it real, right now we're only getting about, I'd say, 2 to 3 new member signups a day. I'd like to kick that up to 10 to 15 a day if we can. So definitely, we understand if you can't contribute. We don't want to make your economic situation worse. But if you do have an extra $5 a month, if you do have $10 a month, we hope you'll spend it on us, because this is the only way we're going to grow long term. We have ideas to grow short term, but this is the only way we're going to grow long term. And I refuse. I would rather drop out of journalism, fold down the tent, than ever take money from a special interest. I'm just not going to do that. Period. So we'll be reminding you about this member contest all month. We are going to grandfather in the 62 members we have now. So you guys can email Jordan at protonmail.com too, and your story ideas. And I am going to read every single new members. I'm going to read every existing member's story ideas and new members. And if we get to 165 members by the end of January, we are going to follow through on this promise. The second, take your 20 million like TYT. No comment on TYT, but I'm not taking 20 million from plutocrats. Sorry. Not interested in doing that. So we have one more contest for you. And this is going to be a long-term, past January contest. And this is for GoFundMe. And thank you, Colin, for these badass graphics. Hold on. This is our GoFundMe contest. And this will be ongoing. So, any person who donates to the GoFundMe during our live streams. So this is only during our live streams. So we are live from 5 to 6 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Any person that donates at gofundme.com/status-coup-news. I don't care what the amount is. It could be as low as $5. I think GoFundMe only let the lowest you could be allowed is $5. Any GoFundMe donation during our live stream, you have to leave a comment while you're donating. You have to leave a comment while you're donating. So basically, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Sunday during the marathon live streams, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the live stream, during our live streams. That is the time to donate. And then we're going to look through all the GoFundMe donations and your comments, and we're going to pick the ones that we think were the best. And each week we're going to interview a viewer. I'm going to interview viewers. Jen's going to interview viewers. Ty is going to interview viewers. And then we're going to air that on the Sunday, during the Sunday marathon. Because we don't want our slogan to be give the microphone back to the people if we're not talking directly to the people and our viewers. So doesn't have to be $5,000 donor. It could be a $5 donor. We're going to read the comments. And the best comment each week is going to be invited on our marathon. We're probably going to record them, but we might also bring you on live now that we have the equipment to have live interviews. So, not everybody wants to be interviewed. So, obviously, you don't have to. You could leave a comment and say, I don't want to be interviewed. But for those who do, because I want to hear your stories. I want to hear what's going on in your community. I want to hear what do you want covered through Status Coup. I want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods. What's going on in your workplace. You can be, if you don't want to tell certain things because you're afraid to get in trouble, that's fine too. If you don't want to talk politics because you think it would get you in trouble with your job, that's fine too. But we want the people. We want our Sunday marathons to be more than just me interviewing, writers and political activists. We want to interview you, the viewer. So any amount is fine, but it has to be during our live streams because that's the most likely time people are going to donate. And all of you are going to be eligible. And we'll pick each week the comment that stood out to us the most. We ask you because the weird thing is with GoFundMe, for some reason with the GoFundMe, it doesn't show your email. So we see that you donated, but it doesn't show your email. So if you want to be eligible to donate, if you want to be eligible for us to reach out to you for this interview, when you make the comment, please put in your email address. So the comments we pick, we can email you and ask you for if you want to do the interview. We just can't, for whatever reason, GoFundMe doesn't give your emails to us. So that's been a problem in terms of getting people's addresses because I don't have a lot of your emails to send you GoFundMe swag. So We'll remind you about these contests. Like I said, the membership contest is just for January. We hope you'll consider becoming a member. We want to get that number up to 165. We hope you'll donate during the GoFundMe, during the live streams to GoFundMe. And all of this, folks, is also not just for long-term growth. We need to build up the revenue for this company so we have enough money to cover Bernie Sanders' campaign. Because unfortunately, right now, if you're paying attention, if there's not true, and I mean true, independent media out there to counteract the corporate propaganda against Bernie Sanders, I don't think he has a shot. This corporate propaganda is way, way too strong. And if you don't have real independent media out there at every primary, at most of his rallies, then his message is going to get drowned out. Thank you, Patrick. $2 in the super chat. There goes Jordan, bringing America together. I try. Steve Richter, say, email within the comment. Yes, because if you leave a comment in GoFundMe, whichever comment we pick, we can't email you to ask you if you want to be interviewed for the Sunday Marathon if I don't have your email. So definitely, please leave your email with the comments. And we also want your email anyway, so we could send you emails along with our email list. Can we gift memberships? Funny you say that, because I talked to Jen about that today. We are. It's not ready yet, but we are going to make that a possibility to gift memberships. Johanna Harmon, Jordan's team is new media. We can turn our backs on mainstream. That is correct. But the truth is, unfortunately, I wish I could make this free, but we got to eat and we need money. We need money to get out in the field. Unfortunately, as much as I love Jimmy, as much as I love Kyle, we have a higher financial bar than they do because we're going out in the field, which costs, on average, a reporting trip anywhere can cost $2,000 to $3,000, depending on how long you are out there. And frankly, when I was at the Young Turks, there was no other independent media on the campaign trail. On occasion, Amy Goodman was there. On occasion, others were there. But not regularly. Not regularly. That's a good idea. Maybe I will invite Rania. They weren't there regularly. And I don't even know if TYT is going to be out there as much as they were in 2016. Not going to get into that, but I don't know if they're going to be out as much as they were. And frankly, I'll leave it at that. I don't know if they're going to be out there as much. So it really leaves a big hole as far as independent media covering Bernie rallies. And we definitely need independent media to counter the propaganda that's coming from New York Times, Washington Post, Politico, New York Magazine, Vanity Fair, Daily Beast, CNN, MSNBC is a new one. So, those are our contests. We really thank you for your ongoing contributions in GoFundMe. Thank you for considering becoming a member. We really hope you'll consider it. Right now, we're at 35,553 in the GoFundMe. We bumped up our goal to 70,000 yesterday, so obviously we're now halfway to our new goal, and let's keep going. And membership, I will tell you every day how many new members we have. Right now we're at 62 members, so obviously we got a long way to go to get to 165. So, I finished tonight with possibly the least shocking story and the least shocking development. Donald Trump is already moonwalking. Donald Trump is already moonwalking from pulling troops out of Syria immediately. Are we shocked? Is anybody shocked? I got to admit, I mean, I was cautiously optimistic, but I'm not shocked whatsoever at this development. Because Donald Trump, honestly, he talked the talk on the campaign trail, and then he bombed Syria twice. He talked the talk on the campaign trail, and then he gave more troops to Afghanistan. He talked the talk on the campaign trail, and then he increases United States involvement in Yemen. So Donald Trump, he says he's an isolationist. He says he's, America first, but seems that whenever he dangles the fruit of getting out of these wars, he pulls right back. And somebody asked about Amy Goodman. I haven't reached out to Amy Goodman for an interview, but I have reached out to Democracy Now! Several times on our Flint story, and I've never gotten a response, unfortunately. So I can only report to you, I am doing the work to reach out to just about everybody and their mother and their father and their dog to try and both interview them, but also get our Flint bombshell out. And a lot of people that you would think would want to cover things like that, including Democracy Now!, The Intercept, the Young Turks, conspicuously quiet, I shall say. Conspicuously quiet. So, here's Trump. Pentagon officials told President Donald Trump that his order to withdraw troops from Syria within 30 days was physically impossible without significant risk to U.S. forces, multiple informed sources tell CNN, and the new 120-day timeline is not an example of anything but reality, logistics, and physics. Despite this fact, Trump administration officials are casting the new timeline as a slowdown and an example of President Trump being reasonable after hearing pushback from the Pentagon and allies such as Senator Lindsey Graham. Quote, I said, I never said that I'm going to rush out, the president told Fox News in an interview that ran Monday. Administration officials told reporters that the president was now granting the military several months for the withdrawal, while Graham told journalists Sunday, quote, I think we're slowing things down in a smart way. I think we're in a pause situation where we are reevaluating what's the best way to achieve the president's objective of having people pay more and do more. In truth, the sources say, the 120-day timeline that's being reported as a slowdown is not a slowdown in any way. It's the minimal timeline the military needs to even execute the abrupt and sudden order in a safe and orderly manner. And by the way, CNN's website right now is basically regurgitating propaganda from the military. You can get troops out of Syria in quicker than 120 days. Now, you could argue whether that's smart, whether it's smart, whether it's not smart, whether it's dangerous, whether it's reasonable. You certainly could get the military out of Syria in less than 30 days, in less than 120 days. You can. But what CNN, the corporate media, does, they are essentially an extension of the military, so they just report whatever the military tells them. The reality behind the schedule is just the latest example of administration officials reeling from a decision they believe to be a potentially devastating mistake, one that provoked a more negative response than the president had anticipated, including the registrations of his widely respected Secretary of Defense. These sources, who would only speak on backgrounds so as to avoid the ire of the president and or avoid further administration chaos, note that Trump's original decision was impulsive. On a phone call with Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president suddenly said the U.S. would get out of Syria as soon as possible. I ain't going to read the rest. You get the point. So, I got news for you, folks. I got news for you. There's no way in hell that the United States military ain't going to drag its feet. And 120 days is going to turn into 600 days, which is going to turn into a year. And before you know it, we're going to be in Syria for the next 10 years. Maybe 20. This is all a smokescreen. Because Trump, and I told his supporters when I was on the campaign trail and I was covering the campaign for the Young Turks, I told his supporters he could tell you whatever populist thing you want to hear. He's as much a cog of the corporate establishment oligarchy as Hillary Clinton. He ain't gonna withdraw troops from abroad. He ain't gonna do that because his masters won't let him do it. He called Jeb Bush a puppet on the campaign trail. Of course he was a puppet. He called Hillary Clinton crooked. Yeah, she is. But Donald Trump's not leaving war zones. So now we're at a pause situation. Well, what's going to happen when the media moves on from this? And the media moves on to the next shiny object. Maybe it's a new development with Robert Mueller's investigation. Maybe it's a new development with other criminal liability as the Kremlin turns saga. Maybe it's another development, another candidate runs for office, announces her run for president, he or she's run for president, there's going to be no pressure on Trump then to actually follow through with what he said he was going to do and withdraw troops in Syria, because all the attention is going to be on domestic politics and the Russian boogeyman. So, I'm sorry to say, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Hold on. I am still alive. Can you call me back? Okay. I'm not surprised, and I don't believe that this is going to happen in 120 days. I don't think it's going to happen in 500 days. I don't even think it's going to happen this year. I honestly would be surprised if it happens while Trump is president at this point. Darth Corey, I don't understand the people who insist Trump is fighting the elites in D.C. How can they believe that? Yes, he's fighting the elites in D.C. with Steve Mnuchin as his Treasury Secretary, with Rex Tillerson, his first Secretary of State. He literally had the CEO of ExxonMobil as the Secretary of State. Like, we can't forget that. He's got Steve Mnuchin, a creature of Wall Street, as the Treasury Secretary. He's got Wilbur Ross, who is basically like a fart that won't go away from Wall Street. Raven Dark, he's hiring the swamp. Of course he is. Donald Trump is the swamp. He was just great at selling himself as this populist renegade, and the people bought it. And you had an unprecedentedly bad candidate in Hillary Clinton. Nunnies, there's 365 days in a year, Jordan. Nunnies, I'll make you a deal. I'll make you a deal. Okay? I'll make you a deal right here. I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump's not withdrawing troops from Syria in the calendar year 2019. You want to bet me, Nunnies? What do we want to bet? Up to you, Nunnies. What do you want to bet? I'm not making any money, so be kind. I don't think Donald Trump. I think we're moving troops immediately out of Syria. Now we're in a pause situation, and God forbid, by the way, God forbid, I don't like that Donald Trump is meeting with Lindsey Graham in the White House. You want to know why? He has not named a new defense secretary. David, you're right. He will get spanked by Lockheed Martin. He will get spanked by Boeing. He has not named a new defense secretary, and he's sitting there meeting with Lindsey Graham, who is basically carrying on for his, dead lover, John McCain. Matt Perry, $1.99, interview Nina Turner and Susan Sarandon. Nina Turner is on my list to interview, 100%. I would love to interview Susan Sarandon, too. Thank you, Matt, for the suggestions. And there's the membership. Hey, the more members we have, the easier it will be to get guests, too. So, I don't have any reporting to back this up. It's just speculation, but he has not named a new defense secretary, and Lindsey Graham might as well be holding Donald Trump's jockstrap these days. And Lindsey Graham as defense secretary would be... Lindsey Graham is pretty much Dick Cheney on defense. Lindsey Graham is John McCain on defense. Lindsey Graham is... he's pretty much the captain of the neocon club. And I think you watch for that. You watch for that. I am very, very, very worried about Lindsey Graham meeting with Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham, frankly, seems to be dictating Donald Trump's decisions on Syria. And by the way, this has a ripple effect. Because if Donald Trump is nice viewer count. Hey, Kimberly, it was at 350 before YouTube randomly got rid of 100 of my viewers. So thank you. It was at Donald Trump when he pauses on withdrawing troops from Syria. That is a domino effect in Afghanistan. Because remember, Donald Trump was talking about removing half of the troops from Afghanistan. Well, if he's not going to remove 2,000 troops from Syria, what makes you think he's going to remove any troops from Afghanistan? Donald Trump is going to focus on his fake war at the border, not the real wars that we shouldn't be fighting abroad. He wants to put all of his money down. He wants to die on the sword at the border and pretend that there's, a systemic, threat and caravans of enemies and brown people and Muslims and Mexicans. That's the war that he's trying to sell to his people. He's not serious about removing troops from Syria, Afghanistan, ending U.S. involvement in Yemen, and I will be happy to have egg on my face if he proves me wrong. I don't think he is going to prove me wrong because he's already moonwalking. He's already moonwalking. Hunter, Chris Murphy is the Democratic senator version of what Lindsey Graham and John McCain are, establishment war hawks. I agree. I like Murphy on guns, but that's about it. Zachary, very sick watching soldier dig fighting holes in Texas, waiting for sick women and children. It's extremely sick. And by the way, this didn't get a lot of coverage, but there was more attacking immigrants at the border on New Year's Eve. Paul, yes, it may be the Blackwater money. Hey, that's something I should look into. Patrick, 409 viewers was the most I saw today till mysterious buffering. Yes, 409 viewers was the most I've seen ever on this channel, aside from when we interviewed Jimmy Dore. So the people are responding. The people are coming to Status Coup. The audience is getting bigger. We're close to 25,000 subscribers. We just passed 35,000 on GoFundMe. We are going onward. And now we need to, as I spoke about earlier, we need to grow our paid membership. statuscoup.com/join. I'm not asking you to be a member for my health. You're going to get bonus content. You're going to get exclusive behind-the-scenes content. You're going to get great content. You're also going to support real independent media that does not sell you out. People are power. We're here, Jordan. Thank you. So I'll keep covering it because, frankly, the media is not covering it. Oh, the media loved it. Oh, my God, the media was in hysterics. They were in hysterics when Donald Trump said he's taking troops out of Syria. You notice how they're not exactly covering that he's deciding to keep the troops in Syria for the time being? They don't want you to know. They just want that to happen underneath the veil. They don't want to cover that. They're happy about it, but they don't want to draw attention to the fact that Donald Trump is doing their bidding. Because, by the way, Wolf Blitzer, he works for the defense industry too. All of these corporate journalists, they all work for Boeing. They all work for Raytheon. Hell, you have U.S. military commercials on CNN and MSNBC. Scud, they are state media. Yep. Let me tell you something. The American people, the number one fear they should have is not Russian trolls on Facebook. It should be CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, the Daily Beast, all of these pretend journalists that just put out propaganda and propaganda. That's why we need a status coup. Circle the wagons. Ah, you're finally waking up. What are you talking about? I've been awake for a long time. So, before I go, one more reminder for our two contests. Our member contest. You pick. Once we get to 165 members, hopefully by the end of this month, every member that signs up, email Jordan at protonmail.com, your story ideas. We're going to pick the best story idea, and your story idea, we're going, Ty and I. If that story idea is in your local community, then Ty and I are coming to your local community, and we will probably want to meet with you to get more information about the story. We will probably want to interview you, the viewer, and our new member about the story. We want to give the microphone back to the people, and that starts with membership. So the number one the story that we decide based on what you submit, we're going to be going in the field if we hit that 165 member number. And we're also going to pick 9 other stories to cover right here on the channel, not in the field, but we will cover it on the channel for an hour each story. So you have to, if you become a member, you have to email Jordan at protonmail.com your story idea, what you want covered. It could be in your community. It could be elsewhere. Keep it reasonable. We're not traveling to Mars. We can't do any international travel. We don't have the funding for that. So domestic stories, either locally or somewhere else you want us to cover. You will be eligible. If you're already a member, you're eligible. Email Jordan at protonmail.com. And for those that become a member, statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member as low as $5 a month or $10 a month. You get great bonus content, all those good things. And our Sunday Marathon contest. Donate to our GoFundMe while we're live. So you could donate any amount. I think donations start at $5 on GoFundMe. Anybody that donates, email us when you donate, you could leave a comment. You have to leave a comment to be eligible. Leave a comment while you're donating. Leave your email too in your comment, and we'll pick the best comment each week. The one that inspires us, the one that makes us laugh, the one that whatever. We'll read the best comment between us three, or four or five, and we're going to decide, and then we're going to ask you for an interview, probably via Skype, and we'll air that during our Sunday marathon. So you'll be on the channel with us. So that's the deal. I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Sorry for the buffering and the audio cutting out. Nothing was different on my end today, so I find it very odd that all of a sudden my screen keeps buffering, my audio keeps cutting out. Very interesting. I'll have to ask YouTube about that. Thank you for watching, and remember, most people are not lacking compassion. Most people have no idea what the fuck is going on. Peace out.